So I got Prince Kassad versus General Granger, but I can't build any units, so that means no units from the command center, supply stash, arms dealer, barracks, or airfield if we capture one. So right now we're building up a supply stash in kind of an odd position. We want to be able to build up a bunch of stashes so then we can get our worker count up to a good amount here. So that's the alternative for me, is that we just spend the $1,500 repeatedly. That way we get the worker count up. See, another odd position there. So we're just going to be selling those supply stashes because we only want the workers that spawn from them, and that's not a rule break because I'm not actually making the unit myself from a command center or the supply stash. So it's only a rule break if I'm actually clicking for that unit or using a hotkey to make the unit myself. Okay, so right now we're pretty good on the supply stashes, so we're just going to sell off the excess, and we're going to utilize those workers to build up our defenses. So we need to get a barracks on the go here. So we got one right in the corner. Now there's a reason why I want it in the corner, and that's because of Granger's planes. So Granger's planes typically go for production type of buildings, and you want to be able to keep the barracks in play because we need the barracks to build the defenses in the first place. Also, by having it in the corner, it means that Granger's planes are taking longer to fly into your base to get to your barracks, which means your stinger sites that are going to be defending will have more shots on Granger's planes, meaning that he will have less planes to work with on the next attack, and so on. So right now we got the 3 workers. They're building up the stinger sites as we speak. Now, alternatively, I could have gone like tunnel networks, but tunnel networks, like they spawn the 2 RPG guys, the 2 rocket troopers. Those guys, they're not very good at dealing with Granger's planes. Their missiles are slower than the stinger site missiles, meaning that the PDLs on the King Raptors can counteract it. So we don't want to have to rely on those guys. We want to rely on the stinger sites. That's why I'm going for mostly stinger sites and a few tunnels here and there. So the reason why I want the tunnel networks is the first attack that Granger does is a para drop. So a bunch of Rangers are going to come into my base, and those tunnel networks are decent anti-infantry defense. So we'll use those to deal with the Rangers. But the rocket troopers that do spawn from the tunnels, they do have a use. So what we're going to do with them is we're actually going to use them to garrison the buildings. So they'll be able to deal with some of the Comanches that Granger sends my way, but they're also a very good distraction play for some of Granger's King Raptors and Aurora Bombers, Stealth Fighters, etc. So we just want to be able to use that distraction to keep our defenses going and also build up new defenses as well, because the stinger sites that we've got on the go right now, it's not going to be enough to fully deal with the onslaught of Granger's planes. You've got to be able to withstand his attacks till about the 8 to 10 minute mark. That's when he starts to really slow down his attacks. Once he does slow down though, it means that you've got plenty of time to, you know, build up your arms dealer, your palace, and if you want to use Scud Storms, I did use Scud Storms by the way, you can get to that as well without too much of a threat from Granger by that point. Now, yeah, with the with beating Granger, yeah, like I said, I went for Scud Storms this time round, but if you wanted to do it without the Scud Storms, it's totally possible. You could probably do, I don't know if you would have seen it, but like there was a video I did where I did Demo General versus Granger using demolitions only, and I basically just built stinger sites closer and closer to Granger's base, and I killed him with stinger sites pretty much. So you can beat him even without super weapons, doing a challenge, doing an extra challenge like this one. You can see that some of Granger's planes, they were trying to go for my barracks, and they get a little bit weird because like sometimes they'll like just fly around the barracks, and then that also gives my stinger sights plenty of time to shoot it down.
Well done, gentlemen.
But yeah, I do need the barracks to stay alive to keep the defenses maintained. So I'm building a new barracks as we speak, but I'm also going to try and get an extra barracks on the go as well, just so I've got a spare to keep building defenses. But yeah, he keeps aiming for that production. It's only a small inconvenience. The barracks is only $500 anyway. And the more planes that he's sending, the better, because we're going to get those general points, then we're going to get the Rebel Ambush, which is camouflage rebels, and then we're also going to get Cash Bounty. And Cash Bounty is really going to be helpful against those planes too. And yeah, with the barracks in the corner, I went for a camo netting this time. I thought, well, he's going to try and pick off my barracks. I need to keep the barracks in play to build more stinger sights and tunnel networks. So if we just camo one, and we'll just keep the other one as bait, pretty much. And now that we hit the rank 3, I went for the level 1 Rebel Ambush. I didn't really need to go level 2 or 3 right away, just because we're only really going to be using the first couple of Rebel Ambushes for capturing oil derricks. Now, the oil derricks, I mean, extra cash, can't really go wrong there. Pretty much a done deal. And there we go, we've used the Rebel Ambush, so we're going to try and capture the 2 oil derricks at our base, and then later on we'll try and go for some of the other oil derricks, and maybe some of Granger's buildings as well, if possible.
If that is what you want.
General! Our land is being attacked! We will not be oppressed!
I will obey.
Yeah, that barracks there is really putting in the work, because it's, even though it's like, it's only $500, and yet it's picking off, well, it's partially responsible for picking off so many of Granger's planes. And you got to think that Granger's planes are like $1,100, I think, a piece. So if he does like a full airfield, you're talking like $4,400, and I'm only going to lose $500 in the form of the barracks, potentially.
We have captured the building.
Here comes the reign of terror, General.
Do not hurt me. If that is what
Yep, so we're approaching that 9-minute mark now, and I thought, you know what, those attacks are dwindling down. I say that, and the Aurora Bombers are coming, but take a look. The Aurora Bombers, I think they were trying to go for my camo barracks, which is why they were flying through my base, and yeah, basically no damage done. But yeah, I want to get the arms dealer up, so then I can go to a palace, and then the Black Market and Scud Storm as well later on.
Finished with the building. I'm just a peasant. I can't build there. I will do the best I can.
A new camo netting has arrived.
I will obey.
Yeah, we really want to get that Black Market up, just so we can get the worker shoes as well, for one. But the stinger sights can be upgraded with the rocket upgrade from the Black Market too. Not that it really matters that much, because the stinger sights that we've got right now, they're picking off Granger's planes pretty well, but having that extra damage boost really does come in handy as well, so it's going to mean less damage done to my base.
I am finished with the building. Oh, okay, I will work. I'm just a peasant. This hammer is heavy. Do not hurt me. I do what I am told.
I sense danger may be near. Our courage will be seen by all. We will not be hindered.
So I just got the palace. We're going to use that worker to build up our black market so that we can get the upgrades later on. I do have a worker that's repairing one of my stinger sites right now. I could have chosen to build more stinger sites, but I felt pretty confident in the defense that I had right now, especially since Granger's attacks have dwindled down and he's not really going to be doing too many more aggressive moves by this point. So now that's out of the way, I noticed that my rebel ambush is good to go, and I'm just trying to pick a target. I was like, okay, could I go for his power plants? Well, power plants on the right side, that's a pretty safe bet, but I was like, nah, let's try and have a go at the oil derricks. I knew that the Comanches that were in the middle of the map were a potential threat, but I was like, yeah, I think I'll try it anyway. If we get it, great. If not, then we'll just have to rely on whatever resources that we've got, being the resource pile and the 2 oil derricks, plus the level 3 cash bounty that we got, which is still doing the work. Even though the attacks have dwindled, it's still raking in some cash for me. Yep, so there goes that black market. So worker shoes, rocket upgrade. I didn't go for the AP bullets just yet. Or I don't remember if I even used it at all, to be perfectly honest with you, but even so, it wouldn't have mattered that much, just because the rebel ambushes, more so for capturing buildings rather than attacking Granger's stuff in this battle.
No cost is too great. The way
So
is
with
clear.
two rebels that we got just there, we're just moving them into the village, and I wanted to try and use them a bit like spies, but also was thinking about having another go at capturing oil derricks. Again, not sure if it was going to work out. I was pretty confident that it was going to be an epic fail, but using them as spies though is another thing entirely, because if we can reveal part of the map and see what buildings he's garrisoned, or if he's got any loose infantry near the resource pile, which he usually does, we can like use an anthrax bomb on that later on, get a little bit of extra cash from the cash bounty. That's where I was going with that.
Let's fight. Nothing will stop us. Our courage will be seen by all.
I'm hungry. You change your mind often. This hammer is heavy. What do you want with me? A warrior has fallen. I am finished with the building.
Yep, so we just got a Scud Storm. We did lose a Stinger Sight by those Aurora Bombers, but that was actually kind of a good thing, because I was about to build a 3rd Scud Storm, so it gave me a little bit of room to work with there. Not that it really matters. But right now, we've got 2 Scud Storms on the go. I got a 3rd worker who's building up Stinger Sights, and I'm building up the Stinger Sights so then the Scud Storms are more defended, for 1. But 2, I also want to branch out to the other resource pile that's a bit further to the right. So not the one that's right in the corner, just the 2 small piles of resources. And then I can do a supply stash to get those resources, and just extra cash, can't go wrong, and then we can just keep building more and more Scud Storms, so then we can beat Granger later on. I was I was a little bit excessive with the Scud Storms. I didn't really need them all. I probably could have settled for maybe 3 Scud Storms, something like that, something a little bit more
That is what you want.
conservative, I guess. But yeah, cash was pretty easy to come by in the form of those oil barracks and cash bounty.
We will not be oppressed. Yes, I go. The way is clear.
Yep, so we did the rebel ambush next to the power. That's usually what some people do, because it's one of those areas that Granger doesn't go for. Especially since my rebels are the camo rebels that
I will
aren't
obey.
seen.
Our work is complete.
Beautiful.
You change
And
your
there's
mind
that
often.
sting site, there's a
Are
stash.
there not better
So
tools?
we're going to use those rebels at the power plants. We're going to capture those as well.
Our courage will be seen by all.
And I used one rebel. I keep getting them mixed up today, Ranger and rebel. Using one rebel to try and capture the power plant. I was just using him more like a dummy, just to see what Granger was going to do, if anything. And yeah, I spotted all of those Comanches there, and that's kind of a good thing for me, because it means that I know one good place where I'm going to use the Scud Storm. Because those Comanches usually hover around the supply center, like somewhere in between the supply center and the command center, usually in that general area. So things like EMP pulses and stuff like that, that's very handy to use. Like if you're playing as China, of course.
That is what you
So yeah,
want.
very handy things that you could use to get rid of a whole bunch of planes all in one go. In my case, I'm going to be scudding them later, and by scudding them later, it means level 3 cash bounty is really going to put in the work here, and then we're just going to keep building more and more Scud Storms as a result. And yeah, I went for the AP bullets. I think I just thought, you know what, we've probably got enough Scud
I'm just a
Storms.
peasant.
Let's get the upgrade. If we gotta shoot some Rangers or something like that, we can do that with the extra damage. Same thing applies to the buildings. It's just those Comanches and other planes that are really going to ruin the rebel ambush, if it goes wrong, that is.
That's a lot of supplies.
No cost is too great. Yes, I go. Our courage will be seen by all. We are upgrading to armor-piercing bullets. Nothing will stop us.
I am finished with the building.
One path to freedom.
I'm hungry. This hammer is heavy. Our work is complete. Cannot we live in peace?
We can now use our Scud Storm. Well done, General. You have reached a higher rank.
I will do what I must.
Yep, so there's our rank 5, and we've just got our 7th Scud Storm on the go now. Again, very excessive with the Scud Storms. I really didn't need that many. But I just figured, I got the cash, let's use it. So yeah, we've got the Anthrax Bomb, and we got the Sneak Attack. So the Sneak Attack, not really the most helpful general power to have on this map, because the planes are just going to shoot it down anyway. So we're using the Rebel as the spy, and we revealed the infantry that's in the middle. He usually does have a bunch of infantry in the middle of the village, which is why I used the Rebel just to check the area out, and a little bit of extra cash as well from the bounty too. So that can't go wrong there. And yeah, if we were to do like other Anthrax bombs later on, it means that's less anti-air defense as well. So one Scud Storm aiming at the command center. That's also going to knock out one of the dozers. So Granger has 2 dozers on this map. And yeah, I was thinking about using the... Oh yeah, I did use it. But it didn't last very long. I'm guessing I was trying to either use it as a distraction or... Oh no, actually, you know what I was doing? I was using it to reveal part of the map. That's what I was doing. Revealing part of the map to try and figure out where the other dozer is, and he's right next to a power plant.
You'll regret destroying that airfield, General.
And there goes the command center, and also there goes his power too.
How about we call this one a draw?
Let's fight. Out of way.
And just like that, we're using those rebels to try and capture the 3 power plants, making him more offline as well.
They're not better
A warrior has fallen.
And yeah, Granger's at that point where he's stealing my resources. My rebels didn't work. Well, it didn't work out with the capturing. I should have seen that coming. I should have probably gone for the Scud Storm first on the Comanches and then go for the capture. But yeah, I used this Scud Storm to try and take out the dozer because we don't want the dozer to repair his base. Otherwise, that undoes everything that we've done so far.
That's 2 of my airfields you've hit,
Beautiful.
General.
So no more dozer. We're just going to use a few more scuds, take out the airfields, and then it should be the end of Granger this time.
All planes return to base.
Our courage will be seen by all. No cost is too great. Yes, I go.
So this next rebel ambush that we got going,
We will not be oppressed.
trying to save a little bit of time
Seen by all.
by
We will
getting
not
them
be
to
oppressed.
capture Granger's stuff. It also means that we won't need to rely so heavily on the Scud Storms as well.
A warrior has fallen.
I will obey. I'm just a peasant. Do not hurt me. My hands have splinters.
We can now use our Scud Storm.
Let's fight. Nothing will stop us.
Yep, so I'm getting those rebels out of the way,
Launching Scud Storm.
just so they can capture the power plants later on. We want to use them to try and capture the power plants whilst there's no Comanches that are in the way. So that's why we got one Scud Storm on that airfield. The other is going to take care of the majority of his planes.
I'll come for you personally.
Now, we don't need to deal with the supply drop zone. You don't need to take that out to beat him, but you do need to take out the supply center itself.
We will not be oppressed.
So now that that is out the way, we can use our 3 rebels to capture those 2 power plants in airfield, and then we can use the other 2 to capture those 2 power plants. He still has that 1 Comanche there that could be a threat. But yeah, by this point, it's just a waiting game. We're just trying to knock him out quickly, so then we can move on to the next general.
That's the last airfield you destroy today. Forces, target their command center.
Belongs to us now. We have captured our way is through. Our base is under attack! No cost is too great. We must acquire new lands. We will not be oppressed. We will claim
Yep,
it
so
for
just trying to
ourselves.
capture that last building now. 2 Comanches are trying to take out my airfield and power plants, but I figured I'd be able to do it. He stopped firing on the power plants and going for the rebels, so yeah, I had a Scud Storm ready to go, so I just did that, and then we win.
Attack!
Anyway, so I am Crackalo. If you enjoyed this one, I've got a Command & Conquer playlist where I do a bunch of can't build any units challenges. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Ground forces, defend the airfields.
We can now use our Scud Storm. We are victorious.
I guess it's time for me to go find a good airline job.